It's undeniable that the Xbox 360 ushered in a new era of gaming that virtually anyone who was around for has at least some fond memories of. That original Blades dashboard when you first booted up your system felt like a massive leap into the future. Even as a PC-first gamer, I begged my parents to get me an Xbox 360 the Christmas that Halo 3 came out so I could game with my buddies and experience the next generation of Halo. From the graphical leaps to the online and social innovations to the incredible gaming experiences, the rhythm game takeover, for so many major cultural moments with gaming, the Xbox 360 was there. It was leading the charge, the default console everyone knew about at the time, the little box that infinite imagination poured out of. The impact that the Xbox 360 and its generation left on the entire gaming landscape is still being felt and in some ways missed today. The Xbox 360 was a huge part of my life in so many ways. It showed up right as I was starting my YouTube career and played a pivotal role in that career start, something that would completely alter the trajectory of my entire life. And of all the interests I have, even in gaming, I know this is a story that I am far from alone in. Nearly everyone you knew who gamed at the time would talk about the second-generation Xbox console. Today we say goodbye to the Xbox 360, in a way. By the time you're probably listening to this, the online marketplace for the Xbox 360 software and media will have closed off the ability to purchase new titles. Movies, apps, games, gamer picks, themes, a lot is being gated off. If you already bought something, no worries. You'll still be able to continue downloading and playing your stuff for now. And disc games will continue to still work and function with backwards compatibility on newer Xbox consoles too, if they supported it. It's not common, but I'm choosing to be hopeful that Microsoft doesn't take away our access to these ever. But this move still represents an official "it's time to say goodbye" moment for the console.
And there it is. All right, this is the man who bought the first Xbox 360. Was this a transcendent moment for you?
Oh, yes.
Now you guys actually have a pretty good story to tell, because you traveled almost the longest distance to get here. Where did you come from?
Senatobia, Mississippi.
So you came all the way from Mississippi, and was it by car, by plane, by bike, by tricycle?
By car.
By car. How long did it take you to do it?
About 36 hours straight.
Oh, well, how very appropriate. Now,
Xbox is now 2 generations, or 2.5 if we count the Xbox One X, ahead of its 360-degree gaming gargantuan, and yet I still feel drawn to it. There's still so many gaming experiences it can offer. If you can shed the conventional FOMO and obsession with the latest and greatest loot box experiences, or if you just want to play without always being connected to the internet.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360. That's your message if you don't like it?
It's called Xbox 360.
I have more memories with the Xbox 360 than I can possibly share. I can't forget every breathtaking experience seeing just how incredible games like Halo 3, Gears of War, Mass Effect, and Just Cause 2 looked. The controls felt better than ever, especially coming from the bizarre original Xbox controller, and games ran better than ever before. It truly felt like a massive generational leap, even when I was just playing on our old giant rear projection TV that never looked super great anyway. We wouldn't get HD TVs for another few years at my house. I very strongly remember seeing interviews on TV. I don't remember if it was a kids channel or G4 TV, and I cannot find it now, where people were giving their hands-on response to a sneak peek at the Xbox 2, which hadn't been named 360 yet, and being overwhelmed with excitement at the future of games somehow being even better than the already incredible experiences we had on Xbox and PlayStation 2. I remember soaking up every single magazine release for new games I was excited for. Official Xbox Magazine, EGM, Game Informer, any little detail I could get for Halo 3 or Gears of War, I was reading and rereading every page with obsession. I remember the brief return of demo discs for that generation, a trend that honestly still needs revived today. I'd say Xbox Live provided the majority of my first real or hardcore online gaming experiences. As a PC gamer, I'd been gaming online for years prior. RuneScape, Newgrounds Flash games, Call of Duty, Combat Arms, Halo CE. I was even in clans and Xfire for some of these games and shared screenshots and video clips with them. But most of us never really were voice chatting or anything like that. Those relationships never really felt like much. Meanwhile, I vividly remember the impact Xbox Live's first voice communications to me had on my gaming outlook, despite the journey I had to go through to play on it. You see, our first white Xbox 360 did not have Wi-Fi. Our router was under my baby sister's crib since her room was formerly my mom's office. So when I finally convinced my parents to let me use the Xbox Live trial card that came with my 360 I got for Christmas, I had to take it in there. So I had to sit the Xbox 360 on the floor, run an Ethernet cable to the router under the crib, and sit my 3-inch portable GameCube screen in my lap and play that way. My first Xbox Live experience was on a 3-inch 4x3 composite video screen, and I loved every minute. I had no clue what to expect, but I was talking with teammates and poning some noobs within minutes, and it truly felt like nothing I had experienced before. My parents were cool enough to run Ethernet wiring through to our basement and eventually my bedroom so I can continue online gaming in a more suitable environment. And they eventually got a big plasma screen TV. But I would have continued playing in that rocking chair forever if I had to. I had that Xbox kitted out. I had custom dashboard themes, a custom faceplate, memory card in slot 1, accessories plugged into the USB port. I had one of those cooler attachments on the back, which were actually bad for the Xbox, so maybe don't look into those. I had everything. Sadly, in 2009, a flash flood while we were in vacation in another state wrecked our sump pump, and 6 feet of water filled our basement, killing that Xbox 360, plasma TV, and most of my retro consoles. These days, cloud save storage is pretty prevalent. Even the Xbox 360 itself has it now for Xbox Live subscribers. But at the time, it didn't exist. And sadly, I lost countless saves on there. My Mass Effect trilogy playthrough, all my Gears of War and Halo campaigns, screenshots and theater mode saves, and so on. I didn't have a ton of time to play games during school years, so any progress I made through big single-player games was precious and not easily replicated, and most of those games were not yet finished. I remember taking apart the 360 and the remains of the flood mess, and I wound up crying a little bit over this. My mom didn't get it, since insurance money would later replace the Xbox with the new Black Elite model anyway, but for me it was knowing I had hours upon hours of progress stored there, lost forever, and I would likely not return to those games again anytime soon, as I hated having to start over. And that was true. I only just returned to beat Mass Effect here in 2024 after losing that save in the flood. While the cleaned up basement family setup got that new Xbox 360 Elite for us to enjoy, I did feel a sense of loss of ownership over my gaming experience. And in the summer between my senior year of high school and my freshman year of college, I went on to buy my own Xbox 360 Slim for my room for me to really game on. Which of course eventually lent itself to content creation too, as I had just gotten my first capture card the year prior. There were so many good games to play if you were gaming on Xbox 360. Big name titles like Halo, Call of Duty, Gears of War, then of course others like GTA 4, Mass Effect, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and Skyrim. Remember Prototype? Anyone remember that? One of the first big steps in that kind of game formula before we got to the modern Spider-Man games that we have today. The original Prey was a lot of fun. Bioshock, Just Cause 2 absolutely blew my mind, and I would spend hours swinging around blowing things up. Nier, before Nier Automata, Red Dead Redemption. There's this game I picked up from GameStop on a whim and loved called Too Human. It was originally announced for the original PlayStation back in '99, but released as a bit of a different game on 360 in 2008. However, it fell victim to some weird, bizarre licensing disputes, and the would-be trilogy starter was pulled from game stores not long later, and from the Xbox Marketplace in 2013 due to lawsuits between developer Silicon Knights and Epic Games. Eventually, Xbox was allowed to distribute the game again, but only for free, and Epic managed to revive it for Xbox One backwards compatibility listing in 2019 too. Weird backstory, but the game is really unique and a lot of fun. And it's free, you should check it out. You can still buy it even after this shutdown. Dante's Inferno cloned God of War pretty blatantly, but with its own unique story and lore, and provided Xbox gamers with their first dose of that style of combat outside of Devil May Cry. We'd also later get Bayonetta as well. Frontlines Fuel a War, the kind of demo of Homefront, that game later became Homefront, that one was a lot of fun to me and not a lot of people talked about it. Xbox 360 was home to a wide array of Japanese shoot-'em-ups, such as Death Smiles. The focus on anime girls is a little odd, but these are considered some pretty solid shmups. Singularity gave us FPS players a fun new IP to play with and earned Raven Software their ticket to the Call of Duty train. Beautiful Katamari. Need I say more? Enslaved Odyssey to the West was a really, really special game. It was one of those first of the wave of post-apocalyptic fantasy combat games that franchises like Horizon Zero Dawn have taken to the limits in recent years. It's heavily influenced by Journey to the West, features fun exploration and combat, and stars Andy Serkis as the main character Monkey, which is wild. This is one of the many unique one-off games brought to us by the wonderful developers over at Ninja Theory. They made a killer game called Heavenly Sword for PlayStation 3 a few years prior, and would go on to release DMC, Devil May Cry, on the 360 a few years later, then go on to work on the Hellblade saga of games. The Xbox 360 also facilitated my brief stint as a semi-pro competitive gamer. I loved Halo, like really loved. I had one of those villain origin stories where I played Halo CE on PC but just could not grasp controller play on the original Xbox for Halo 2. Playing by myself, I could play through the campaigns, but multiplayer really sucked, and I was first introduced to it on a big projector and 4-player split screen where we had a LAN party thing going at a middle school lock-in, and I just got destroyed. I even struggled early in the Halo 3 days to compete, and my friends would walk all over me in multiplayer matches. I did fine on PC, but on console, it's always been a struggle, and it still is now. So I spent most of high school grinding competitive Halo 3 play, held my own against actual pros in the MLG playlist and Halo 3's matchmaking, got my max rank 50 in the Lone Wolves playlist, and went on to compete in actual tournaments for a short while. Then at any parties or gatherings, I'd want to play Halo so I could finally win, and that eventually made it not fun to the others anymore, so they moved on to Guitar Hero or Smash Bros. My competitive career would extend into Reach, but would fizzle out as I went into college and got a job and had less time and energy for constant grinding. Speaking of Guitar Hero, woo boy, did the rhythm game phenomenon take the world by storm, and suddenly everyone you knew had Guitar Hero 2 and 3 set up, or Rock Band if they could afford the instruments, and soon we were all rocking out to Guns N' Roses and Dragon Force all day. I loved the heck out of that game, even if my hands couldn't keep up beyond the hard difficulty. And I have many memories of rocking out to Sweet Child of Mine at sleepovers, partying online with buds, and having my friends break the strum bar on my guitars, playing Through the Fire and Flames. And while Guitar Hero and Rock Band were on every platform, the Xbox was always at the front of those conversations and the assumed default that most people operated from. Xbox really led the charge with online and social features. Xbox Live released on the original Xbox, and matchmaking got its first experiment in Halo 2 thanks to Max Oberman, but it was perfected on the 360. Xbox Live required a subscription, but the social features, eventual addition of cross-game party chat, game invites, join session in progress, status updates and achievement sharing, watch together tools, and deep friends lists really showed the world that gamers could be social, and had so many of us screaming into our headsets, waking our parents up every night playing Jenga or Duck Hunt in Halo 3. PlayStation 3's online services did not require a subscription, but the social features were sorely lacking by comparison, and the system did not include a headset. So while the Xbox Communicator headset was likely the cheapest thing they could put in the box, PlayStation gamers were constantly exposed to the worst that cheap late 2000s Bluetooth headsets had to offer. And it wasn't great for voice comms either. Halo 3 stood as the pinnacle of everything the Xbox 360 and Xbox Live could do. Halo 3 supported more online and social features than I can even remember. It had local split screen and online 4-player co-op for the entire campaign. It had Forge, the map and game mode editor where you could make and save your own content for the game, which also supported split screen and multiplayer within it. It had Theater Mode, a Quake-style demo recording system where you could go back and watch your previous play sessions, but from any player's perspective, or third person, or a free roam camera. You could pause, rewind, play back in slow-mo, zoom in, and experience it with multiple people in your party viewing it too. Online multiplayer offered a wide gamut of experiences, from PvP and MLG-inspired esports playlists, ranked competitive play, to more social and casual PvP modes, to crazy party game playlists that would change seasonally. Multiplayer came in free-for-all, 4v4, 5v5, or 8v8 madness. Plus, you could always build and host custom game sessions, including both split-screen and online players for up to 16 players at a time, which was insane. Going beyond that, there was a Bungie's Favorites feature in there, where every week the developers would highlight their favorite screenshots, video clips, game modes, maps, and so on that players had created, often rewarding players with the legendary Recon armor helmet. Oh yeah, it had customizable player models without having to buy them separate. It got extra content with map packs or the included companion disc with Halo 3 ODST that had them all. And all of the feature content was enabled by the file sharing system, wherein you could easily view your friends' hosted maps, modes, screenshots, whatever, and download them to your Xbox to use. You could also view your friends' ranks, scores, and such. Then Bungie went even a step further with their website integration. You could use their file forums to discuss and share your modes, maps, etc., and directly download them to your Xbox from the website. You could render out your theater mode saves using Bungie's servers to high-quality video files or screenshots to save to your computer. Your online profile had your entire match history, including generated stats such as favorite weapon, heat maps that showed where on each map you would most often die or score, and tons more. The possibilities seemed endless, and we've never seen anything like it since. An additional cool thing that the game allowed, and some others on the system did too, was to play with split-screen couch buds while playing online. They could either sign into their Xbox Live profiles or join as guests, listed as your username with a number after it. This made online play so freaking accessible and led to countless hours of fun and shenanigans. Virtually every co-op or multiplayer game on Xbox 360 supported both online play, which felt revolutionary at the time, and split screen, upwards of 4 players. This felt like a nice evolution of the ideas we had on the previous generation, and something we'd quickly come to miss in the following generation. I played through all 3 Gears of War games and Judgment in split screen with my dad, and the same with Army of Two. I will always look back fondly on those experiences. I would also go on and share some of that with my wife, with split screen letting us explore those same games and others like Minecraft. Sure, the split screen got awkward with the super slim ultra-wide views in games like Gears or the 4x3 box in games like Halo, but it was worth it. The Xbox 360 also rushed in the era of cool accessories, console faceplates and skins, a wave of new controllers, the chat pad for messaging just how much you hated someone's mother in Modern Warfare 2, and Control Freak. For a while, competitive FPS couldn't be played without these little thumbstick grips. They just gave you a little bit more fine-tuned control over your sensitivity. In many ways, I vastly prefer the Xbox 360 controller to modern Xbox controllers. While overall, I prefer the DualShock and DualSense design to the offset stick layout of the Xbox 360 controller felt indestructible. The thumbsticks never seemed to drift, and the buttons were clicky and responsive. And ooh, that wired controller magic for input latency. I had massive issues when it came to dead zones moving to the Xbox One, and it became a whole complicated thing where 343 Industries had to introduce classic and modern stick sensitivity options and other things to try to make the older Halo games in MCC feel right on the new pads. And on Xbox One, they tapered the bumpers for some reason. I will never understand this, but they tapered the R1 and L1 or RBLB buttons down towards the side, which to this day on every main official Xbox controller results in constant misfires of those buttons when I don't intend to. It's not a problem on 360 nor any other console. Thankfully, Hyperkin just released the Xenon controller, a custom Xbox 360 inspired controller for modern Xbox and PC, and it feels incredible. The buttons are where they should be. My favorite console controller right now. And of course, we had Xbox Live Arcade. Originally introduced with the original Xbox's Xbox Live to host actual arcade games with high scores, on the 360 it evolved to be the first kind of curated indie game release platform, introducing mini gamers to their first indie game experiences. Limbo, Trials HD, Minecraft before it was a Microsoft game, Fusion Genesis, Geometry Wars, Uno. Lots of great games that you got to experience only through the arcade, without the publishing overhead of printing discs for the games. Everything is trying to be online only now, and we're certainly seeing the consequences, but at the time, this kind of digital-only thing felt revolutionary. Eventually, it became home for any digital-only release game on Xbox, including some Telltale games and even games like Counter-Strike Go. Worms Ultimate Mayhem bringing 3D Worms gameplay to the 360, Assault Heroes, Charlie Murder, Schizoid. Brink is a classic that absolutely needs preserved and ported up to modern systems. Fez is a well-known classic. The Minecraft Xbox 360 version is great and still playable when the Xbox Live servers go down, unlike modern Xbox Minecraft. While old school Halo servers have been shut down for multiplayer, old Call of Duty games are still playable and just got a breath of fresh air breathed back into them the last year when Activision cleaned up the servers in summer of 2023. Plus, they just made the map pack DLC for Call of Duty 4 free, so go get some old school matches in. Way better than any modern CODs. Crackdown? Anyone remember the Halo 3 beta that came with it? Midnight Club LA was a good one. I remember my best bud's brother was obsessed with Rainbow Six Vegas. Enemy Territory Quake Wars was such a unique online shooter based in the Quake universe. There's a revival project going on to still play it on PC. I'll point you to my buddy's video on the Level Cap channel for that one. On top of everything else it had to offer, the Xbox 360 could also play nearly every original Xbox game without issue. There would sometimes need to be updates to support new games, and those could be acquired either through normal system updates or through OXM demo discs for those not playing online. The emulator tech for this went on to still be used in the modern Xbox backwards compatibility program today. Brilliant. The Xbox 360 is still a great value even now. The consoles can be had very cheap and the games even cheaper. You'll soon be unable to buy some digital games, but for very little money you can still easily enjoy 1,000 hours of incredible gaming experiences for years to come. Plus, even more fun can be had by modding it, which I have just started investing into the process of doing, and modding it may very well get even easier soon. With all this, it's time to say goodbye to the Xbox 360, at least in terms of official support and release. I still have an endless collection of games that I will be playing through for the rest of my life, but I know that the experience is static and will be locked as it is moving forward. An incredible console that gave many of us some of our most precious gaming memories and truly propelled the entire gaming industry forward in so many ways. I hope we can get back to some of the gamer-centric and social-focused lessons that we learned from it. Shouts out to the Xbox 360. I don't know where I'd be without it. If you enjoyed this, then you have to click here to watch my video with BBK Dragoon, where we share even more Xbox 360 memories. Please share in the comments or in the demodisc.zone forums what your favorite memories with the Xbox 360 were. I absolutely want to hear them. Go check out this video for a similar retrospective I made on the PlayStation 3, and remember to be kind, rewind.